Demon Hunters, the current meta, the champions of Dragonlight. Dragonlight? Oh, we started already. Demon Hunters, the current champions of Season 4 in Dragonflight. Will they retain the top spot in the War Within Season 1? Let's talk about it today. We're going to be looking at how it plays. Is it easy to pick up for bench warmers and beginners like us? What are the hero talents like? What are the strengths and the weaknesses? And will it remain at the top? And the answer might surprise you. But yes, I am Benchwarmer. Thank you for stopping by. Welcome back to the channel. Let's jump right into the Demon Hunter. So let's talk about how it plays. Well, nothing's really changed in regards to talent setups. Everything has stayed the same. There's been no movement. It's been completely static. However, what you'll see is I've played a slightly different build to that on retail, and that is just because I've been playing around and testing different talents and seeing which one works best for me. So the ones that you see in front of you right now might not be the same as what you'll see in the current meta build when it goes live. But I've just been playing around with a few things. I kind of like it. So in regards to talent system and setups and everything, nothing has changed. So it's going to be quite easy to pick back up, and there's not going to be much of a learning curve. And because this channel is all aimed at bench warmers like me, people that don't have a lot of time to play, casuals maybe have a few hours every now and then to pick up the game and have a little play with whatever class they pick, is Demon Hunter, and more specifically Vengeance Demon Hunter, the best pick for you? That is for you to decide. However, my opinion, out of all the tanks that I've played, and if anyone's watched any of the other videos, you'll know that this expansion I'm going to be playing a tank, and I've not played tank before, although I've played many classes in the past. This one, the Demon Hunter, was the hardest to understand and the hardest to learn. Now I know the professional Demon Hunters will probably flame me if they ever watch this video, and I've got a few close friends that do play Vengeance Demon Hunter that will definitely disagree with me, but my personal experience is out of all the tanks, Vengeance Demon Hunter was the hardest to pick up and the hardest to learn, and it's slightly different in the playstyle as in comparison to any other tank. And I kept coming back to it because I did feel like I was playing it wrong, and I've learned a little bit more looking at a few Wowhead guides and Icy Vein guides and a few videos, and my playstyle has improved, although you may disagree seeing it on the screen. I'm still getting a few things wrong, but as someone that may be picking up tanking for the first time in the War Within, Demon Hunter is incredibly hard to learn. But that being said, that's just my opinion. I might not like the way that it plays. You might, and you might enjoy it. So don't take my word for it. It is just my humble opinion, bearing in mind that we are on beta, we are incredibly undergeared, and the dungeons are very overtuned. But you'll see on the screen right now, I was jumping into an enemy pack and getting hit 3 times and dying. Now, that's my own fault because, and this is why I say it's a very steep learning curve, there are a lot of things that you need to do preemptively before each pull, and going into a pack without any fury already stored up and going pack to pack, it's very hard to get started. When you go from one pack to the next, it's like a chain puller type tank, and what I mean by that is whereas sort of like a Guardian Druid or a Warrior can go straight into the first pack and be completely strong, just as strong as going to the next pack after that, a Vengeance Demon Hunter is stronger after the first pack is dead, because if you go into your next pack with a lot of fury, you have a lot of your cooldowns already preset, and you've got to be very preemptive in how you play a Vengeance Demon Hunter. You have to make sure you have enough fury and your defenses are up when you jump to the next pack, which makes it incredibly difficult, as you'll see on the screen where I got absolutely destroyed when I jumped in and got hit by 3 or 4 enemies and instantly died. That's where the struggle is. Now, I know I'm not playing it right. I know I'm playing it probably wrong in comparison to all the other professionals out there. But as someone learning, I found it incredibly difficult. It heavily relies on metamorphoses. You are practically unkillable when you are in that. But it's a 2-minute cooldown. Now, there are a few talents and things you can do to reduce that cooldown. But it is incredibly strong. But if you don't have that, you've got to really balance each of your cooldowns effectively, your defensive cooldowns, and this is why I say it's quite difficult, because it's not as easy to play as a Guardian Druid or a Protection Warrior, so to speak. And I think it's important we transition now into its strengths. The strength of a Vengeance Demon Hunter is in its movement, in its pack to pack. It's very nice for Mythic Plus because you're always moving, you're on a timer and you need to get there before the timer ends, and your strength is when you go to your next pack, like I've just said. So it's fantastic when you play it right. And movement is a strength, but for me it's also a weakness. I don't like the playstyle of a Demon Hunter, I'll be completely honest, which is also why I'm probably playing it wrong, because you need to move around a lot, and it's one of the one tanks that you need to be able to get away from stuff, because you're not as tanky as other tanks. Like a Protection Warrior and a Guardian Druid, you aren't as tanky as them, and you need to retreat, which is built into the spec, Vengeful Retreat, and Glaive Throw, and you need to sort of balance that around and make sure that you're surviving. That's fine, and people like playing that playstyle, and you know, fantastic that they can do that, because I really can't, and I can't pick that up. The second strength of a Vengeance Demon Hunter is its sigils. Now I know that's been nerfed, and I know it's quite of a sore topic for some Demon Hunter players right now because Blizzard are playing around with things, but you have so much to play with, and it is a massive strength. You have Sigil of Chains, which is like Gorfien's Grasp ×2, because you can place it wherever you want and it's very effective. You have Sigil of Flame, which is built into the spec identity, and you need to make sure you use it off cooldown as much as possible. You have Sigil of Silence. You have an AoE silence. Like, how awesome is that? And you have Sigil of Misery, which is an AoE fear. So if you think about all the benefits that other tanks have, you have pretty much all of them built in. You've got the AoE silence like a Protection Paladin. You've got the AoE pull like a Blood Death Knight. You have the AoE fear like a Protection Warrior. And then you've got Sigil of Flame, which is all for you. Like, you've got so much utility, and its strength is in its utility. And I can't forget about Chaos Nova. You've got an AoE stun as well. Now, I very rarely talk about weaknesses in these videos because I feel like it's got such a negative connotation, but a slight mention to a Vengeance Demon Hunter. I've found that the defensive toolkit isn't as diverse and as strong as other tanks. You have Darkness on a 5-minute cooldown, and then you have Metamorphosis for yourself. And it won't be such of a problem in a raid situation because Darkness is an incredible tool to use, and everyone will always have one in the group. You'll always have a Demon Hunter in your raid. But in a party, when you compare it to other tanks, your defensive toolkit pretty much extends to Darkness, and that's it. There's nothing else. So when you're comparing that to a Protection Paladin, you've got a lot more utility there than you have in regards to a Vengeance Demon Hunter. And with that being said, let's jump into hero talent. Looking at the left hand side of the hero talent section, you have Aldrachi Reaver. Simply put, every time you consume 30 soul fragments or cast the hunt, your throw glaive turns into Reaver's glaive. When using that, it looks pretty cool. Your fracture and soul cleave is a little bit more powerful. And looking down at the tree of Aldrachi Reaver, there are a lot of abilities that increase soul fragment distribution, and there's a few abilities that will heal you based on what you do. So it's quite nice. Now moving over to the right hand side of the hero talent section, you have Fell Scarred. Simply put, every time you cast Metamorphosis, you do a massive AoE damage, and your soul cleave and spirit bomb are buffed. And then moving over to the end capstone of the Fell Scarred hero talent, you have Demonic Intensity. Basically increases your Immolation Aura, Fell Devastation, Sigil of Flame and Soul Cleave, and times it by 10. Now, my take on all of these hero talent sections is that Fell Scarred will probably be the one to pick. Not only because you get an increased fury by 50, but you also increase your damage, you increase your armor, and it's a little bit easy to manage, whereas you've got to manage every 30 soul fragments or the hunt, you'll get your Aldrachi Reaver and your Reaver's Glaive. With Fell Scarred, it's every time you press Metamorphosis. Now, you also have talents built into the Vengeance Demon Hunter that increases and procs Metamorphosis. So when you have Metamorphosis proccing, you also have these enhanced things with Fell Scarred. So I think that Fell Scarred is going to be the one to pick, and I think that it's going to be the one you'll see a lot in Mythic Plus. And moving on to the final discussion point, will a Vengeance Demon Hunter retain its top spot in S tier for Season 1 The War Within in Mythic Plus? The honest answer is no, but it will be quite high. I think maybe A tier or upper A tier. The reason why I say that right now, in its current state, if you compare it to a Blood Death Knight or a Guardian Druid, for example, it doesn't compare at all. They are incredibly strong. Now, whereas Vengeance Demon Hunter has a lot of control and utility, you can't compare them. And I've been talking to a few Vengeance Demon Hunters that are playing in Season 4 Dragonflight, and they've said the reason why that they're currently in the top spot by a long shot is that its current talent setup complements its 4 set very, very well. When you move into the War Within, you will no longer have your 4 set, and the new 4 set doesn't complement the talent system as much. It focuses more on Fell Devastation to increase your healing and your damage. When you're looking at the Season 4, it's all about Sigil of Flame, and Sigil of Flame is incredibly strong and it complements it very well. When you're moving over, that's going to disappear, so we'll have to see what happens. And if you think that's absolute nonsense, I will give you a third point to consider as to why I don't think it will be in a top spot. From a balancing perspective and a game engineering perspective, you don't want a current tank or a current spec to move into a new expansion and be the meta. Not only that, you don't want a class and a spec to be meta for more than 1 or 2 seasons because other specs will suffer because of it. And they've just done a massive rework for the Blood Death Knight, and there's been a lot of changes, and Vengeance Demon Hunter hasn't changed its talent setup like we've discussed before, so I don't think it will be S tier for that reason as well. And to conclude this video, that is my current take on a Vengeance Demon Hunter in the War Within. I would very much like to know your opinions, whether or not you agree with me or disagree with me. Sound off in the comments comment section down below. And as a final mention, if you want to join a community of benchwarmers like us that are a bunch of casuals that like talking about the game and loving the game for everything that's included, there is a link to a Discord server, The Bench, in the description box down below. Click that, you'll be warmly welcomed in, and we'll talk about some World of Warcraft. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, smash the thumbs up button, and write a comment down below, and I will see you guys in the next video. I'm Benchwarmer, take care, bye bye.